Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this.
Thank you, Biggie. You heard him. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. The two kings of this generation. They battled it out for years from the late 80s to early 90s, dubbed the Console Wars. Even though Sega had an almost 2-year head start, the Super NES outsold the Genesis by 1.5 million units. And yes, that's a young Paul Rudd in the commercial. Does that guy ever age? Let's play some Super NES. Okay, so we have our Launchbox open. Here's all our consoles we got going so far. We're at about 5180. You're using the same ROM set as me. So we're going to configure Super Famicom and Super NES. Tools, import ROM files. Add folder. Hard drive. Nintendo. Super Famicom. That's what we're importing. Now it wants to bring it into the Super Nintendo. So once again, when we say Super Famicom, we're going to scrape it as, that's right, Super Nintendo. There it is. Next, choose an emulator, RetroArch. Okay, it's going to automatically give you the core SNES. You could change that later if you don't like that one, but pretty much the standard. Next, everything. Emu movies. Everything's retained. Your bezels. Next. Finish. Super Famicom. Now we're downloading all our media files. Tools, import ROM files. We're going to do the Super Nintendo Entertainment System now, or the Super NES. Some people call it the Super NES. I refuse to. Select the folder. Next. Finds it automatically. It's a default platform. RetroArch. Use files in current location. Download everything. Emu movies, bezels, default. There's all the files coming in. Finish. Let's fast forward. All right. So now we have our Super NES game. We're at 6,500 games total. Let's test some Super NES games, starting with Super Famicom. So the Super Famicom, or Family Computer, was released in Japan on November 21st, 1990. Instant success. There's some very unique games. The Super Famicom, one of my favorite Super Famicom games. One thing about the Super Nintendo and the Super Famicom is a lot of games started with the word super. It was much like the Sega Master System with great in front of it. This looks like a Voltron game or a Shogun Warriors. We're going to have to try that. A lot of wrestling games. Fire Pro series is where I first started playing. It was on the Super Famicom. Here we go. Super Back to the Future, probably one of the best Back to the Future games. The NES Back to the Future games are pure garbage. The Telltale games that came out later on, those are pretty good, but this is a different kind of feel. Those are more of a scum kind of interface. Got your bezel, little Marty McFly, DeLorean. Of course, they left out the best line in that. I mean, if you were a kid in the 90s, think Back to the Future 2 came out in what, 91, 92? This came out in 93. You're like, whoa, it's a lot different than what I was playing. A platform game, but it's interesting. Try not to get killed by the little trash buckets. Great sound in the Super NES, Super Famicom. Whoa, that's a big gun. Ooh, he got me. Oh my God, he's dead. One shot. Anyway, that's Back to the Future. Great. Try it. One of my favorite all-time favorite movies. So one of the other games I used to play a lot was Super Fire Pro X Premium. It was a great wrestling game, especially if you played the NES wrestling games, which were just god-awful. And then when WrestleMania came out for the Super Nintendo, that was like, whoa, but no finishing moves. This game has everybody in it. And one of the best creator wrestler features you ever want to see. Let's just see if we can. This is, I believe, the English version of it. So you have all the leagues. These are already, this is a ROM that I downloaded. Tons of people. You got Hogan, Taker, Vader, Muta, Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner. You can unlock Flair. There's tons of different, you got different types you could use. Go Hogan versus old school Taker. If you're a wrestling fan, this is a must. Hogan going for a technical. This is not a button masher. It's a timing-based game. A button masher when you're down on the mat, but torture rack from Hogan. I'll show you the edit wrestler feature. There's literally tons of guys you can make. Back in the day, I had a website. I used to make a ton of guys. So let's then make. Yeah. There's Hawk right there. Change colors. Rotate them. Changes tights. Shin guards. There's a way to, as you're changing them, it changes them. X window. Oh. Or maybe that's just his face. Yeah, there we go. Now you can just change all the guys. I think if you go back towards the end, you'll see a bunch of guys. Bam Bam Bigelow, Davey Boy Smith, Rick Rude, Sting, Bret Hart. Again, phenomenal game. If you're a big wrestling fan, get it. I could play this game all day, so I won't bore you. So a lot of great games on the Super Famicom. Phenomenal. That's all I can say. So let's go to the Super NES. Of course, Super NES was packed with Super Mario World. Introduced the world to Yoshi, so I'm not going to show you that. I'm sure you all played it. Of course, it had the Mode 7 chip that was used in StarFox. One of the hockey games, I think it was Stanley Cup hockey. Very unique. I think either Roger Clemens or Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball used it. but just a who's who of great, great games. And again, tons of super games. So if you scroll down to SU, there is a ton of different games. Super Bases Loaded, Super Black Bass, Super Bonk, which is ironic, right? Bonk was kind of the mascot for TurboGrafx. Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario RPG. So here's Super Mario World, Super Play Action Football, Super Punch Out. Not as good as Mike Tyson's Punch Out. That's still the best. And one of the hardest games I've ever played. Star Wars. Again, great sound. Played us through a surround sound system. It's awesome. A lot of these games also didn't have batteries in them, so those passwords. I guess that's mode 7 working right there. Emulator handles it flawlessly. Pretty sure this is the hardest game ever made. I just run away from them. Stop following me. Oh, big one. I need a better gun. There's some hearts. Whoa, what are these? Oh, there's a gun. Leave me alone. How do I get it? I got it. I need that heart. I mean, this game is just insane. Leave me alone. Is that purple thing? Gotta be one coming up. There's one. I need hearts. 2 of them. Probably be a good game to use a turbo on. I think I had this for the PlayStation 5. They released it. Not as fun as playing on the original console. Of course, what's good with retro art, pull up our menu, let's save it right here. But the game doesn't have a battery, but we certainly do. Oh man, or jumped right in his mouth. I guess where that little arm pops up, or tentacle, that's where he's gonna be. Oh, he killed me, but you know what? No, you didn't. I'm gonna load the game. And here I am. Ah, did it get me? Load again. One more time. Where is he? Oh, it's wherever you are. I'm gonna stay here. Oh. Oh, all right. Well, I have that saved, so I can go back to that later after this video and spend the rest of my night trying to beat that guy. Let's try a mode 7 game. Let's try StarFox. Now, is it Super StarFox or just StarFox? One good thing I haven't showed you yet inside a Launchbox is I'm going to type Star. It'll show me every game that has Star in it. Oh, I don't know why Nolan Ryan Baseball has Star in it. StarFox. One of the cool thing about the search feature in Launchbox is, let's say you want to see all the NHL games you have. You can just go to the hierarchy of all your games, and it'll show you your NHL for every platform that you have an NHL game in. So that's pretty cool. Again, this was a huge game when it came out. Showing off the Mode 7 chip. Shows you your controls. We're just gonna play. Good luck. These graphics are actually quite comical, now that you look at it, but back then, early 90s, not too far removed from Pong. Anyway, that's StarFox. All right, so that pretty much shows you how to install Super Famicom and Super NES. Again, it's every console I'm showing you is exactly the same way. We're going to move on to, I believe, Neo Geo is next, and then the Philips CDI. Philips CDI is a little tricky to get going. And then we'll move on to another group of consoles. If you want to see a certain console, just let me know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I'm going to play some Super NES games, and I hope you do too.
Many unbearable hours later.